All right. Good morning, Ms. Hall. How are you?
Good morning, I'm fine, thank you.
I'd like to thank you for allowing me to videotape you for this discussion and feedback session and allowing this to be a part of my growth and development as I'm working towards being able to give better feedback.
Thank you.
Okay. Today, I wanted us to go back to looking at the data from our second administration of the DRA. And as you know, this time we decided to have the classroom teachers to not do the DRAs, but to have resource support staff do the DRAs. Could you tell me a little bit about your thoughts around how that worked for you?
It worked really well. The wonderful thing was we didn't have to stop instruction to do testing, so we were able to continue. And also the students being tested um, without without me, it allowed me to see, how much they're able to do on their own without my support. So that was a benefit.
Okay, so good. I thank you for your willingness to let us into your classroom and look at your students and, of course, evaluate their growth and indirectly look at your instruction. So we got some of the test scores back. Well, we got all of the test scores back, and I see you have them in front of you, so thank you
Yes.
very much. Our goal after administering the test was to regroup the students.
Yes.
So you started that process. Could you tell me a little bit about it?
Yes, after looking at the scores and those students who were making growth versus those students who were still standing still, um, it really kind of linked back to the K2 data. The students who were not really strong with their alphabet knowledge and phonemic awareness were not making as much movement on
Mm-hmm.
the DRA. So in regrouping, I looked at both their DRA level and those students who were struggling, still struggling, or just beginning to make progress with the alphabet knowledge and even their sight words, and grouped all of those together. The students who were showing that their growth was stagnated because of comprehension, grouped those together. So I have quite a few ones and twos that are together, and those are the students who are working on phonemic awareness, sight words, and my fours and sixes are mostly comprehension,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then my eights and tens, we're working with a lot of reading strategies.
Okay, so good. That's excellent. I know we have been having conversation in the past about looking deeper into what the DRA is telling us, and based on what you've told me, you've looked at the skills that cause them to be at a level two or at a level one and group them according to those skills.
Right.
Okay, excellent. So because the benchmark for first grade is for them to leave at least a level 16, we want to look at possibly our students who are still on the first grade level at the ones and twos. And how many students approximately do you have in that group?
In that group, I have about 10 um, who are actually not just ones and twos, also ones to threes.
Okay, so you
The
group them
ones
by
and
one to
threes,
threes.
yeah,
Okay,
sorry. But it's the ones and threes. I have about 10 that are
in
in
that
that
band.
in that band.
Okay, good. So how many groups is that?
That's two groups,
Two
two
groups.
small groups.
Okay. Could you tell me just a little bit about what your instructional goals are for that group in the next, um, let's say in the next week? Because what I want to do after that is to come in and observe you giving guided reading to those students. So could you tell me a little bit about your instructional goal? I know you alluded to it before, but just a little bit more.
Yes, absolutely. When they come to my small group, one of the first things that we do, um, rather than looking for the words that are um, unknown,
Mm-hmm.
which I do with some of my students who are a little bit higher, we look for words that they know, such
Okay.
as our sight words, and we identify those words, and then the words that they don't know, we review those words,
Okay.
and we do word building. We review our sight words for the week.
Mm-hmm.
Those students are only given about four spelling words as
Okay.
opposed to the 10, and so we review those spelling words. Um, and like right now, when you come in, we'll be working on probably long I. So we'll
Okay.
be focused on words that have a long I, and the long I sound, looking for those words, reading those words, um, and building their sight word knowledge.
Okay, great. So I hear you say you differentiated them by giving them lesser words and
Yes.
working with those in the word work section of your guided reading, in the guided reading process, and that's during your guided reading. And you help them to identify the words that they already know and then start working on the new words.
Yes.
Okay, great, great, great. And how long is that already gone into practice, or is that just going to start this new cycle?
We we started it as soon as I grouped them. We
Mm-hmm.
began the process, and we're just continuing.
Okay, great, great, great. So when I look in your plans, I see that you do have your students grouped according to their levels. And I see that you do have the plans differentiated. So I'm happy that you also shared that because it's evident in your plans.
Thank you.
The only question that I have at this juncture is I know with the younger kids, it's challenging thinking about what questions, what appropriate questions to ask them to help them do some of that thinking. Have you started to think about questions that will help guide them in understanding how to, decode or phonetically put together words?
Absolutely. Right now, we're working on beginning sounds because
Okay.
one of the other things that I notice is that they're unable to always determine the beginning sound.
Okay.
They'll see a word and it may start with the letter C and
Mhm.
it'll tell you the sound, but then when I ask them for the word, they may guess something else.
Mhm.
So we're working on going back and checking that beginning sound. So we're doing the eagle eye,
Mhm.
looking for the letter, and then making sure that letter makes the right sound. So then getting your mouth right,
Mhm.
and which is fishy fish, eagle eye. So I'm
Mhm.
teaching them those prompts, and I created bookmarks. So
Mhm.
when they come to me, they have their bookmarks, and they know which strategies to go back to as I refer to them.
Okay, good. So the next stage is usually in this guiding feedback session is practice. So let's pretend I'm one of the students and I'm trying to sound out. Give me a word that we're working with.
The word might be, let's say something simple like cat.
Okay, cat. So I'm your student. I'm sounding out cat.
Okay. The first thing we would do is look at the picture,
Okay.
and we would see what was in the picture, and then we would try to figure out if the words are matching the picture.
Okay.
And or I might say, can you find the word cat?
Okay.
And they would look, and then we would check to make sure that that word is correct. So we would look at the book, and I would point to the letter,
Mhm.
and I would ask them what is the first sound, and they would give me the sound. And then I would say, okay, now let's look at the picture. This cat. Say, okay.
No. Cat says.
Now what letter says? And they can also look at my backboard, which is going to have the reminders of all of the alphabets. So they
Okay.
can use that as a reference. Um, and then they would tell me, so I would ask them, well, what letter makes
Mhm.
that sound?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then they would work together sometimes, and
Mhm.
they would come up with the correct letter.
Okay. Well, good. I'm going to stop you there because it sounds like you have a handle on it, and I can say that I have observed seeing that practice for phonemic, working with the sounds for phonemic awareness to work. So you're listening to each one of the sounds in isolations, and then the students are putting it back together. Is that a problem?
Yes.
Okay, cool beans.
Absolutely.
Just checking on that. All right, so I'm comfortable with what you've provided as far as your next steps, how you're grouping the students, and how you're going to assess the students. Could you tell me just a brief part about that?
We at the end of each session, so one of
Mm-hmm.
the I guess exit tickets
Mm-hmm.
would be word building.
Okay.
So words that we've gone over or words that we've looked at in the text, they would build the words for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another thing would be that they would read.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It may be a sentence that we'll build together, and I'll
Okay.
have each of them read the sentence, and I may ask them, how do you know that word is, how do you know that word is cat? And
Okay.
I want them to be able to tell me because it starts with the k sound or
Okay.
begins with the letter C or something
And
of
you
that
record
nature.
that feedback on
I just take notes.
anecdote notes.
Yes.
Okay, cool beans. So I'm fully aware of what's going on. You've grouped the students, you've identified what their skill is, you have your strategy that you're going to use, you have your assessment that you're going to use. Great. What is a good time for me to come in and observe?
We have guided reading starts at 8:35.
Okay,
So between 8:35 and 10:05
okay,
on pretty much any day.
okay, great. So Monday, February 27th at roughly 8 o'clock, I'll come in and check out your guided reading groups, and then we'll meet again and we'll discuss further feedback.
Okay.
All right. No, thank you, Ms. Hall.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.